Welcome to Sikorski's Thinkabouts, and I'm your host, Laura Sikorski. My guests and I share technology and operations issues that may affect how you react and help your customers. Today, my guest is moi. Unfortunately, my guest today had a family emergency, and so I was thinking, what could I talk to you about? And one of the things that always occurs in our industry in customer service is quality assurance. And how do you monitor that? And then how does it affect customer service? So I want you to think about this question that you hear every single time you call a customer service center. Your call may be monitored or recorded for quality assurance and training purposes. Now, what the heck does that mean to a consumer? You know, all I want to do is I want to get to a customer service agent and ask them a question. So let's talk a little bit about your company's mission. Customer service, customer experience has to be your primary goal. Whether or not you have a mission statement, a value statement, or a strategy statement, it should be part of that phraseology. Service should be a product. How you handle the caller, how you handle the face-to-face meeting at a retail store. Employees are your greatest asset. And that's very, very important. A lot of times people forget that they look at their buildings, they look at what they have in the bank. But you know what? Your employees are an asset. They are your greatest asset. And they also are the front line of your company. And of course, quality has to be everyone's responsibility. Now, certainly there is the quality that when you buy a product, you see it's inspected by or that type of a thing. But quality in a call center or a contact center has to deal with how you and your staff are reacting to all the different channels that you use. For example, are you providing the same service via the telephone, via email, via chat? Those three are the top places that people go to find out. What about your self-service? Is your website, your e-commerce site, truly giving the quality that your customers need? Or are you making it so difficult for them to try to get information that they just kind of click out and go somewhere else? So I want to reinforce company's mission. But today, service-savvy customers. Everyone talks about customer effort, customer experience, customer engagement. To me, I like the words service-savvy customers. Number one, they expect you to know who they are, that customer intimacy when they call you or they contact your help desk. They want to be sure that you know who they are. They want to do business when they want to do business. Recently I had a computer problem and I couldn't sleep. I got up 1 o'clock in the morning and I went to the vendor and said, okay, they were there, they're 24/7, and they fixed my laptop for me. The other thing is raise standards of service. And I think a lot of companies, because they suddenly decide they have to have a vanity number, let's say it was 800 Laura's or something like that, and they think that the customer, because they're going to remember that vanity number, and yes, they will, but you all have made it extremely, extremely difficult for the consumer because you have created 9 presses, because you don't have enough time because of that vanity number to give them the proper service. So hotels are starting to go back with a unique number for their primary customers. You could look at the airlines, they are going back to a unique number. And take a look at your banks. Your banks are now offering different telephone numbers for different services because they all found out, hey, doesn't work, 800 vanity numbers. But you have to be sure, and again, in the customer service and contact industry, you have to be sure that you have some type of a robust monitoring program. And I'm going to step you through the various types of monitoring out there. There's real-time monitoring. Let's say you just have 5 people in your call center. Side by side, the person who is handling your service desk or your customer service area. Walk the floor. Listen to how your staff is answering calls or processing a complaint. And if the staff does a great job, go over to that customer rep and say, hey, you know, that was a great job on a call. Again, that's a type of monitoring. Certainly, we have the technology. Of course, you know, being a technologist, there's that speech analytics alert. That's where you have given the computer words that if a customer starts saying them, that you can trigger a monitoring concept of that, and the supervisor is automatically notified that they should start listening to that particular issue. And there's a new kind of buzzword in our industry, and it's called desktop analytics. Now, that is not screen capture, as you will see in the recording section on the slide. Desktop analytics is front office computer systems and back office computer systems merging and talking together for the benefit of the customer. So the front office system may be your customer service rep making an order. The back office system is the warehouse processing it and the billing of the invoice. So that if a customer calls back and you have desktop analytics, what's going to happen is your agent is going to be a lot more savvy in understanding what it is the customer may be calling about, wanting to know when the delivery is. That warehouse information and that connectivity is going to give them. Or perhaps they want to know, hey, listen, I got my bill, but I don't understand it. Can you explain it? Without having to go to your billing department. The other types of monitoring is when you record. And again, going back to that very first slide, you know, your call may be monitored for quality assurance or recorded. Recording can be silent, meaning the agent or your representative does not know that you're recording them. But they, again, depending on the state that you're in, you could be a one-party state, meaning only one person needs to know and sign an agreement that they understand that they will be monitored. Or there's a two-party state rule where you have to notify either via a beep that you're being recorded or perhaps the statement. And for those companies that have 800 numbers across the country, they generally use the words that we talked about in the very beginning. But there is screen capture, and that's a very important lesson for our customer service reps. Maybe they're not navigating the screen the way they should be, and you can coach and help them with that screen capture. And of course, you can do recording all at the same time of everybody's phone calls, or you can random. I would suggest do random monitoring when you're setting up your procedures, because if you do all, you're going to need a lot of storage for that. Now, what does all this do for you? Technically, it's going to validate how your contact center, your call center, your service center is performing. Are they meeting your service levels? Are they satisfying the customer's requests? Well, we're going to stop just before we continue on in validation for a small commercial break, and I'll see you back very shortly.
Hi everyone, I'm Caro here with Karin Garvey, international speaker, intuitive, and author. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell everybody how they can get in touch with you.
The best way is through KarinGarvey.com. There's tons of information there, articles for people to read, products to purchase, and information about coaching.
I love following Karin on social media, and I advise everyone to do so. You're going to get inspirational tips every day. Be in touch with Karin and see what she's all about. You'll love it. Thank you for joining us on the Daily Blue,
Thanks.
Karin. See you soon.
Welcome back. That was quick, wasn't it? We started to talk a little bit about validation, and again, our show today is about quality assurance and monitoring for performance objectives. The The validation of any kind of monitoring also improves customer contact and agent performance, because everybody's going to say the same thing. Everybody's going to be part of the team when they talk to the customer. Analysis is going to assist you with training evaluation. Maybe you need to beef up your training program. Maybe your telephone etiquette course is not up to par, let's say, or perhaps you've got new procedures and they're just not working, that you need to re-educate or re-review with your staff. Certainly products and services. How great when you pick up on monitoring that one of your products is constantly is being damaged in shipment. You know that before the customer is going to call. You can go out and send notification to everyone that's gotten that is anticipating that product that you've put a stop shipment because of an issue. Marketing campaigns, how great is that? All of a sudden you can listen to what your customers are asking for and start developing marketing campaigns that are going to answer those questions. And certainly the agent use of technology is another great way for validation. Now, coaching. Coaching is not Big Brother watching. Coaching today is when your staff expects you to help them. Help them correct any undesirable behaviors that they may be doing. Maybe they say, okay, or quite a few times during a conversation, or they're not listening, they constantly interrupt. It's going to improve their communication skills. It certainly will increase their productivity, and increasing productivity is not a bad thing. You're helping the agent feel more comfortable on the phone, in email, in chat, or what other self-service or computer aspect your customers are using. Coaching is going to reduce your turnover, and turnover, we all know in our call and contact center industry, depending on the industry, can be as high as 50-60%. And it's going to cost about $3,500 every time you have to retrain and hire an employee. So let's start coaching your staff. And certainly it's going to suggest ways to improve your procedures and policies. In quality assurance, there are basically two types of people or two types of departments that talk about and help you with your quality assurance program. One is your supervisor. So if you have a team of 10 or 15 agents to a supervisor, the supervisor, and you're going to probably laugh, but the supervisor is like the mom or dad of when your staff is at work. They help them, they coach them, they watch how their team is performing, they identify ways that an agent can improve their skills, and certainly they can modify and help behavior. As opposed to the quality assurance department, these are more staff that is not actually talking directly to the agents, but they're looking at the performance and monitoring you for compliance. There may be some, healthcare compliances that have to be done. They're also going to help you establish company standards and provide a good calibration function. And we'll talk in a few minutes about calibration. But it's going to identify some trends and areas of improvement. So one is really more company associated quality, which is the QA department, as opposed to your supervisor. But employees, really, I don't care who you are, what job you have. You could be the president and you report to the CEO. The president wants to know from the CEO, how am I doing? Am I doing a good job? Can you offer me some things that I should have done better? Can you, perhaps now the CEO and the president may not talk about a sale, but, maybe words that your supervisor can tell your their team members, what could I have said to make that sale? So a policy for quality assurance, you should have one. You should have performance guidelines, particularly one that you should need is, what you do need is for the employee to sign a statement that they know that they are going to be monitored. You have to have standards and calibrations, and you have to have a methodology of scoring and everybody has to adhere to the same type of scoring. I know a lot of times I'm asked, should we make test calls? And absolutely, but you make a test call not to trick an agent or to trick an employee. You make a test call so you are positive that everyone is saying the same thing. So, and let's just kind of take a look at performance calibration, and you can come up with the words that you want your staff to calibrate against. But you should have categories. You can have superior, above average, average, below average, unsatisfactory. But try to have words that your quality people and your supervisors, when they are doing their performance evaluations, understand that they all are going to calibrate the same. So for quality of work, as an example, consistently exceeds. Average, usually, above average, usually exceeds. Average usually meets. Below average needs checking. Unsatisfactory is undependable. But take a look at all these kinds of calibration performance levels, and perhaps you need to review your scoring cards and making sure that you are actually calibrating and listening and looking for the same things. So, you know what, folks? I'm almost over, but believe it or not, and we're at the point of our think abouts. I was trying to think, what should I say about calibration? And I think the first thing you guys have to do is hire the right people. Don't accept somebody because you really need people on the phones, or you really need people in QA, or you really need people somewhere. Make sure you hire the right people. Make sure that service is your core value. I cannot stress that enough. Again, keeping in mind that your employees are your greatest asset, and they provide the service to your customers. Empower your agents. Don't be afraid to say that they have the ability to give a credit, or they don't have to ask somebody for a credit. Give them the responsibility. We're all really smart people, and so we know if we're handling money on behalf of a refund to the company for the customer, we're not going to exceed the dollar value. And always, always in your quality program, solicit and use customer feedback. Don't just get it and say it's stacking up in a corner somewhere, or it's stacking up on your computer. Give the feedback directly to the agent that took the call. Give the feedback directly to your employees so that they know that the company is being perceived well out there in the marketplace. And of course, you know what? Pick the right customers. Sometimes this is a friend of mine, Adrienne Miller, who teaches sales training, and she basically says, sometimes you have to divorce your customers because they're just not the people that you want. So with that, my friends, I hope you enjoyed today's solo with Laura. That's a nice kind of phrase. Maybe I should use that sometime. But to reach me, again, I'm an independent call and contact center consultant, and you can certainly reach me at Twitter at Laura Sikorski. And of course, I always want to thank the Daily Blue and the Blue Chip Marketing and our videographer, Mike, for doing such a good job. And if you would like to perhaps be a guest on the show, or you have questions that you would like me to address in a future show, let me know, and you can do that as well with Blue Chip. The Blue Chip number is 631-761-9223. And with that, my friends, thank you so much for clicking in, and have a perfect rest of the day.